Ladies and gentlemen, glad to have you with us here at the Canada Contenders League. We're bringing you a very special broadcast for the final day of the regular season with big playoff implications here on the line. My name is Sticula. Joining me will be Binks. We've got this banger matchup to decide, and one team has got a lot more pressure on the shoulders than the other.
That is right. Niagara Falls is coming into this one with an uphill battle, to say the least. Today, they are fighting for their playoff spot, meaning they're going to have to win both of these games within contention, so it cannot go to tiebreak.
Yeah, there is a lot that could go wrong here if you do not play near flawlessly. We were sort of doing some calculation, some speculation in the green room to try to figure out how this one goes, because unfortunately, Northern Shield have got such a massive lead. Only 2 regulation wins will immediately decide for Niagara that they are in playoffs if they can only win their map pick and secure an overtime win as well. There's a tiebreaker situation that goes out, and it could get very hectic. We'll have the admins in here. They'll bring out their calculators, and we will really have to do some serious level math. So if you're from NFES, if you want to win, if you want to get into playoffs, you got to make sure that you win here. Currently, what the point situation looks like, 23 points, I believe, is where Niagara sit at, or around there approximately, and there's like a 5-point difference for their opponent. So this is just such a tough one. It's going to be a very difficult game, and we get the special LAN aspect as well. For a lot of these players, it's their first time even being in this offline environment, so I'm sure that's going to add some extra spice. You know, we always hear about how it's like to actually be in person, playing with your teammates, and that's why we're so excited to bring out the special opportunity.
It really does bring out the best in every single player, and if I'm being completely honest, from the few times where I've actually been able to play with even friends, it could be a close little circle. We're playing a little tournament in our own little basements. Now when you bring it up to the grand scale of them playing at Waves Gaming, I gotta tell you, top of the line PCs, I wish I was there. I'm sure you wish you were there. They're gonna bring us a crazy game, and I expect both of these plays to even kick it up a notch to show us what they can bring.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of like our own little prelude to the playoffs, just given the implications of the game, and it's kind of going to be that first start of, you know, if you can't win here, your chances, your run could potentially be over, so you want to make sure that you're on your A game, and that was a big question that I posed to Creepery ahead of the game. You know, what kind of preparation has he gone through to make sure his team is in tip-top shape, because they haven't honestly been together for a terribly extended period as a roster. Only, I believe, just building their team prior to the start of CCL quals, and so they've been consistently practicing, building up their ranks, and adding more to that structured style of Siege that they play. And so this will, I think, be a big test, whether or not they can show up on game day and have that consistency, because you ought to think in their mind, this is just any other game. All they have to do is just win their map pick. It doesn't matter what happens on their opponent's map. You know, they could get 7-0'd, just so long as they are prepared on their own map selection and that they win it inside of regulation. That's good night. It would be the end of the run for Niagara Falls Esports in the regular season, and it would mean that they don't even get to head to the postseason.
Lots of power on their shoulders, but I do believe we have to see who exactly is playing today, correct, Stick?
Yes, we do. We want to give everybody a kind of a familiar look at the rosters as well. We'll get to that eventually. We also have sort of a picture of the leaderboard later down the line. You can see Northern Shield are a team that I think a lot of people are familiar with. Honestly, they have kind of the biggest Canadian repertoire. I feel like they're almost sort of the sweetheart of the league currently, just because everybody knows Creep. He's a very big face in the community. He's got a huge following on Twitter, and he's honestly just a really nice guy as well, so that always helps. But their roster has been kind of on top of things, not quite at that level of dominance like Viral are, where they only take one map loss through the season, but Northern Shield have kind of been this team to beat, sort of the gatekeeper to the playoffs is what I've heard them be described as. And then you look on the opposite side, it's NFES, and they're kind of had a couple of struggles. Some games they haven't showed up to it as best as you would like, and so that's honestly what happens. That's why it leads to the situation, this playoffs, qualification shootout game, I suppose you could call it, because they have not ran a perfect season. They have this sort of pressure moment where it's all decided, and I imagine should they manage to get through today, that's got to be so much relief for them. They get to just go home, they get to take a nice long nap, and they get to say, man, we did it. We showed up when it was on land, when it all counted. We worked together and we were able to persevere, and I think that's going to be a big question that we answer here tonight.
Every team likes to say, well, this is a must win. This is a must win. Well, we don't have to win this one. Let me tell you, what you want to be doing is completely removing the fact of worrying about a must win. Every single game in the season, that first game of the season, or even that second game, everyone talks about the first game. No one talks about the second game of the season. That second game of the season is so very, very important, just like all the other ones, because it leads down the line to where we are now. So I personally believe the Niagara Falls has what it takes to show up. They have shown so much improvement throughout the season, and if they continue on that road, then I think we could have a real contention, we can call it, for this.
All right, we have a special
game.
map ban segment as well here. I'm sure we'll get this one going as well. This is going to be kind of exciting. It's a live ban scenario, and we don't just have the team submit their bans ahead of the game. We actually get to sort of go through it live at Waves and have this whole process come through, so I'm sure that'll be really fun to see which teams go where. And of course, this being a best of two, the map ban system is a little bit different than what you might traditionally expect. It's not sort of that ban, pick, ban, decider, a different format. We'll go to standings first, though, and we can get a clearer picture, get the actual numbers on how this playoff race has gone and where the teams currently stand up. You can see, I don't know how Orgless have a plus 70 round differential. To me, that just screams dominance. It's kind of bewildering, to be fair. We all have to go get those corrected, though, so stick with us while we get that all back to normal. It seems a little outlandish, yes, I can assure you there, but I can kind of give a clearer picture of where we are, and we were talking about the win condition here, what the points might seem like. For NFES, if they could get 2 regulation wins, I think they honestly have a shot of moving up to 3rd place, because there is another team currently that still has another match to be played. That's the Tide Pods game that will go on off-stream later, but if they don't manage to win any of their maps, we could see them jump all the way up to 3rd place. So that would be a bit of a recovery to sit here currently in 5th to kind of springboard all the way up into that top 3.
I'm interested. So in the past, we've heard that different maps play differently on LAN. So we have some players in that LAN environment, and we have some players virtually. So we don't really historically haven't had the sense to be able to see how these maps we're playing will change with having multiple players play from a certain location while having some remote. For example, Villa is one that I might want to see come out. From the strategical buffer rooms that we may see, should a player around a corner to have that extra millisecond of an advantage, it could be absolutely massive. And we could see different strategies that the teams come up with be absolutely unbeatable, or you could see them have to make those constant adjustments to be able to adapt to this new environment. I'm sorry, but that just baffles me.
Yeah, and one bit of discourse that I was seeing recently on Twitter is for players competing at the Mexico Major, the ability to actually just like sit back and look over at your teammate's screen to like see what they're on. Maybe they're watching a flank round or something like that. It's a bit of a more unusual aspect because you don't really get that when you're just, sitting at home and playing a normal CCL match where you're all, remote from each other's, homes, apartments, whatever, how you may. But I wonder if maybe that'll be an aspect as well, because sometimes communication can fall through. Maybe your teammate gets in a bit of a rut and they're kind of going silent. I know we've all been there before, and we've had that situation go down where it's just like, man, we cannot win any rounds. We're having such a hard time. You could just look over to your teammate's screen. They don't even get to say anything, but we do have the map veto segment. Now it's Consulate up first here from Northern Shield.
I will admit, I was really hoping to see that Consulate ban slip through. bit of foreshadowing to what we may see in the future, but from Northern Shield, that is not too much of a surprise. We haven't seen Consulate throughout this game, but from Niagara Falls, I can see them going for one of these more strategical maps. I personally, my dream come true will be the day where we get to actually see Coastline on this land, because that's quick corners, that's constant gunfights. But stick, we see them contemplating. I have to wonder, what are we going to see? There it is. Cafe.
There we go. We have our answer. Cafe Dostoevsky removed. So I'm sure some of us at home are going to be celebrating that being vetoed because, to be honest, nobody really likes Cafe. It's not a great map. Not a personal favorite of mine either. And I don't think it's really the one we're exactly looking for on the land environment. And yes, I have to agree with you there about Coastline. Coastline's already a fun map because of the chemistry that you get. You know, it's such an exciting map. It brings an aspect that really is only rivaled by something like Consulate, and it can give you those really exciting clutch moments where we're back here in the casting booth and we're just screaming our lungs out because it's so exciting. And I would really be disappointed, honestly, if we didn't get that. Just thinking so far, Niagara, I don't think have played a match in the last 2 weeks because of the forfeits that they've gotten. And you go back even to week 4, they had a forfeit there as well against Shinigami. So Niagara really haven't had a lot of games that they've played so far this season, which is a bit of a shocker. You think about how they played in the early season, they were kind of set up with a very struggling schedule. They got put up against, initially in the first week, Orglis, that's a tough game, to be honest with you, because Orglis have been firing on all cylinders, and they've been very explosive in the way that they played Siege, and it's hard to get a wrap on them. And then what happens next? They come into week number 2 and they face Valors, which is arguably almost equal in terms of how difficult it is. But there it is. Coastline is banned out, so we will not have that one there. That is a bit of a toughie, but hey, we still have an opportunity more so to get some other fun maps. But I feel like this is probably going to head down the road of Oregon and Clubhouse, to be honest with you here, Pinks.
You know what?
We are zeroing in.
We got to look at the positives. At least we know what could happen on
Very true.
Both Oregon and Clubhouse. And correct me if I'm wrong, that is Gooby, right?
I think it is.
In the background? That is Gooby in the background, and he's repping that Parabellum merch, looking absolutely dapper, if I do say so myself. So gotta respect that. He's doing a phenomenal job. He is actually doing all the Gooby the Winter League. I have to give him a shout out because he's been going absolutely off, organizing this land, making it happen. And there you go. There's the Villa ban. Stick.
Oh boy.
I don't know why you always have to be right about these map bans, but I think you might have foretold the future of both Clubhouse and Oregon.
I mean, Amateur Siege, they just love Oregon and Clubhouse, so it's hard to navigate that obstacle, really. And as well there, I wanted to say a huge thanks to Gooby as well for organizing this, as well with all the wonderful folks over at the Waves Gaming area, just for allowing us to have this first environment. This is sort of a pseudo land because us casters, we're back here remote, but Gooby, he's hanging out with all the players in the lobby, so he's really going to be feeling that energy, and we'll have an opportunity after each of these rounds when either team is able to pick them up. We get to actually look at their reactions on their face, which is such a unique opportunity to see, how winning in the lobby transpires to emotions outside of the game.
Waiting on this final ban to come out, and there's the pick of Clubhouse. We don't know the side, but that does mean that our first map is going to be done over. And I believe Clubhouse is located in Germany. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not too sure. I believe that was the GSG9
It is definitely in Germany. I think it's in Hamburg, if my German is right. We'll go to Wikipedia, since I've conveniently got a nice Google tab up here. It's in Hanover. I was close. Started with an H, but not exactly in Hamburg. Still Germany, though, so you are right.
Still Germany. You know what? Country is good enough for me. I'm pretty sure. Now, this is me crossing my fingers, hoping that I can guess the next country for a map. I'm really hoping we can go to the French Alps and not over to something that starts with a B, maybe known as Borgen. But we can see what this will turn into. Screw and Lucifer better not do me dirty with this one. Over at Niagara Falls. Let's see what we got. Fingers crossed. And there it is. There it is. We are going to be seeing Clubhouse and Oregon. Not to fret.
What a surprise.
I think that because of how comfortable these teams are going to be on these two maps, I think it's only going to spice things up. If we were to throw them on Chalet, Coastline, it wouldn't give us a true form or a true taste of what both of these teams can accomplish together.
Well, the one thing that I'll say is traditionally with Clubhouse and Oregon, these are maps that tend to go to overtime. And given that this is such a special experience, I think you'd agree with me here, Binks. We probably want as many rounds to cast as possible. We want this game to be a heater that goes down to the line, and we get that overtime match point round. You know, the diffuser is down. The diffuser is, or the defense, they're running. They're trying to chase their way to get to that case, and that's the moment that we're sort of hoping that we get to cast here and that we get to bring to all you viewers at home, because this is so unique. It's such an extraordinary experience. So we want to bring you the most hype game possible. We don't want to blow out. We don't want 2 7-0s. We want to be here for a little while.
I think if you're in the side of Niagara Falls, I think you're really hoping for that 7-5. You don't want to see that overtime 7-7 match point. You need to make sure that it's 7-5. We'll go for the 7-5. We'll give you a show. Anything beyond that, no thank you. And as you can see with our beautiful graphics manned by Grissom, we can see that Northern Shield is going to be starting on the attacking side on Clubhouse, which statistically in the past has been known as a disadvantage. But now with how much the map has evolved, all the strategies, then I do believe it's starting to move towards more of an even 6-6 split, or even a 3-3 split if you're looking for the exact side. But you saw there just a nice friendly wave from side to side, because that is actually possible, because that's right, they can see each other.
Indeed it is. And I was going to say as well, a huge thanks not only to Grissom for managing the production behind the scenes, but we have a special guest role as well being filled by Excess as our camera operator, allowing you to kind of see the roles and the faces, the emotions of either of these two. And then we've got Dan, who's observing us here as well. He'll be bringing us the action very shortly as we've got Clubhouse ahead. But your predictions, given the scenario, 2 regulation wins, gotta mean that's the guaranteed victory for Niagara. If they want to be in the postseason, if they want to have that run towards the finals, how do you predict this one going? Do you think Northern Shield are just going to muscle through?
Oh, man. I was hoping to see a round before you asked me that. All this speculation. I see Northern Shield really putting an emphasis on their knowledge and experience in the game. The fact that they have that comfort, and it feels like they're more playing at home. And I've always said this about Northern Shield, they're almost primarily Canadian. I may not have the Canadian flag in my background, but I am Canadian. I gotta, both these teams may be Canadian, but I gotta represent for that team that has more Canadian members.
Honestly, to be frank with you, I have a pretty good feeling here that this is going to be, unfortunately, not the situation where Niagara get into the postseason, just because it's a lot of weight for them, and their season has been pretty rough so far, and it's kind of the ugly truth of their roster. The majority of their victories in the league have been forfeit wins, which is, unfortunately, that's the situation. We're on Amateur Siege, and sometimes teams don't show up. Sometimes, they ranked arguments get the better of them, and that causes the team to disband. We won't name names there, but yeah, things like that do happen, and sometimes teams don't get to cooperate. It means, number one, they haven't had a lot of games that they've been able to, play and actually win, which is a huge difference from my playing experience. A forfeit win is so bittersweet because, oh, wow, we get the points for it, but you don't get the same feeling of actually playing in the game and triumphing over your opponents. It does not feel as good.
It's like the same thing. Like, if I was a champ, it would mean nothing. It would feel like nothing if it was just given to me. Where's the value in that? If I got that off of MMR balancing, it wouldn't have the same ring. I'm not a true champ. I didn't put the work in, and that's what we're really looking to see today. Did these teams put in that extra mile of work? So, as we get ready to hop right on into this game, we want to hear what you think. Take to Twitter, at us, at Binkscast, at Sticula, and most importantly, at CCL, because we want to hear exactly what your thoughts on both these teams are, the players, and make sure to share the plays.
Do that. Definitely give some love over to the CCL community support team on Twitter. Make sure that your voice is heard. We're getting into the game, though. We will be able to finally get going here on Clubhouse, the first pick in this epic on-land best of 2. And it's Thatcher and Maverick or Habana? Maverick or Habana? It's Habana.
Oh,
okay.
You're on point with your calls today, Stick.
Oh,
Wow.
man, it's Clubhouse. I'm no fortune teller.
You're just a statistician. I get it. But isn't a fortune teller a statistician? You gotta put those two together. But hey, that's when we also probably could have predicted Valkyrie being extremely potent and those black eye cameras really showing how much information you can gain. And like we said earlier, if you're able to look over at your teammate's screen, if they're on a Valk cam, instead of needing to go for the extra loop over for the information, you look over at your teammate's screen and you know exactly what's going on. You can see you know exactly where to look, which is something that might be completely foreign and new to these players. But if they are able to use it properly, that could be absolutely game-changing.
Yeah, I was going to say that might be helpful with the Valkyrie, being able to check your teammate's screen and then immediately have that instant reaction to be able to detonate a pre-placed nitro, but no, we won't get that because Valk is banned. There's still an opportunity we could see that event with a Pulse, though, but to be honest with you, Pulse's role is usually just confined to the Arsenal and Church site, and usually even within that objective, he doesn't get played much. I can't recall the last time that I've seen a Pulse played on the basement. It's just such a thing that doesn't happen much anymore. Pulse's role in the current meta is very tiny, and it's very situational as well. So maybe we will see that. Maybe that's sort of how NFES play. Maybe they like to bring the Pulse. But personally, if it's a decision between a different gun and the UMP45, I think I've already made up my mind there.
As said, we are going to be seeing this Cash and CC defense. Niagara Falls opting to go for what seems more or less standard, but I think this will be very centralized about being able to control the flow and that utility usage of Northern Shield. If they are able to hold down an anchor, for example, onto either Garage or Construction, it will be pivotal if they are able to use that to deny any sort of push from Northern Shield. If they do opt to go through those areas, they have to hold them down. And if they do give them up, it's a matter of how long they're able to deny for. And that's, in my opinion, as we hop into the action phase, will make or break this defense.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Siege and Clubhouse in particular is such a time-oriented map. A lot of rounds are won by the ability for the attackers to be, sometimes spontaneous. You kind of have to make a decision to act very aggressively, and there's no real place for a very sluggish team on Clubhouse, but I'm not necessarily saying that with the meaning of, you can't be patient. But in the fundamentals of your checklist, i.e. getting open the main wall here on the subroof, for example, there is no time to delay. You have to just do it, and you have to put some oomph behind your play, because if you're wasting time, things can begin to go wrong. Already from the start. Happen? I'm struggling. It looks like Raymond is just below. He's in bottom garage. Yukio will pick off Adam, though, and have himself a fight, trying to win it there from the pre-fire against the sledge. But it looks like Garage has been forfeit, and that's a huge win for Northern Shield. The fact that they've managed to take this one, Castle Barricade ripped down for Yukio, will actually use that to rotate away. But though Northern Shield do get control of Garage, they've lost both their Ash and now their Ace.
Not the opportunity ops that you want to lose, especially with that hard breach and entry, but you have a lot of good, solid operators to make that up, especially as Raymond goes for this aggressive pick. A huge nade from Hacker. This could definitely turn the tide of the round.
Might just be that sort of extra bit of emphasis that you need. Northern Shield are really starting to bear down onto the side, and it'll be a close wall. Plant the nade, scores a great kill at top red, and it'll be another one found out there by the M762, as despite the insane amount of recoil behind that 762 rifle, still doesn't matter much. And there we go, the fist bump. Nice to see that one going there for NS.
Okay, a few notes on that attack and defense, to say the least. If you look, the Ashe and Ace, they should have been quite pivotal in that attack. It was through the camaraderie of Aggro and Hacker playing that Maverick and Sophia respectively that they were able to get that wall open in record time. The sledge of Raymond pushing into Garage was absolutely huge, and I think it goes quite unnoticed. I do believe it was Raymond that was able to get that opening pick, and I'm quite baffled it was able to happen. A bit of when, sorry, why would you change that? I'm lost, Sticula. I'm sick. Maybe you can explain this to me. You're laughing. I'm laughing. I'm confused. So we saw the Malusi last round. I completely lost my point, but we saw the Malusi last round. She got caught in her rotate. We saw a lot of players from Niagara Falls get caught on their rotate. What I need to see is, with that impact, are they trying to go for these quick plays? Are they trying to rotate in and around? It just doesn't make sense to me. I want to see more of a clear cut, especially with this being more of an amateur scene. You want to go for that clear cut, that extra layers, that specialization doesn't always pay out, because if you're planning for things to go exactly the way you want, I guarantee you they never are.
Oh, well, a bit of a curious change there. It's got to be that castle barricade shifted away from the swamp door, instead now over towards the blue window, so I'm not too sure, to be honest with you, what that's going to change. It might make it a little bit easier to get removed now. As you can see very freely, Dan just chucks down a breaching charge and gets rid of it. We'll send in a drone as well, but the problem there is now you really do not have a whole lot of cover, and it could potentially be a problematic situation, because you can see already Zoldiak kind of realizes it. He can't play too close up there to the mini staircase, and that could reduce the ability of the defenders to cooperate from inside of the garage, which was already a pretty big issue in the previous round, and it led to Northern Shield, you'll remember, taking garage control at the 2-minute mark, which is almost unheard of. I don't know where Zoldak is going there. He runs into stock, and Dan was just sort of waiting there, obviously getting ready for the possibility of Niagara maybe feeling a little bit more uncomfortable with their current setup on the vert below.
We see these nades, see these breaching rounds down below, and just like that, the site has almost been monopolized with these choke points held. But Scrim has something to say about that, playing the castle with that UMP. He will be able to find a very much needed kill onto Raymond, denying some of the nades. He will be stuck with that now in his pocket. And Hacker only having one left. So those nades that we saw so very potent last round will now be reduced, and these ADSs holding exactly where you want them.
Another pick off there, a nitro sent, but it fails to connect for Lucifer, as Dan is playing this one a little bit precariously, not wanting to make that commitment to push up the staircase and possibly challenge Lucifer, but he's caught out of position in that same regard. Opening up that route, as you'll see Dan take it as he tries to quarterback the top clear at the top of the red stairs, but Aggro picking off now for a second kill. Diffuser is down successfully, and it leaves up Morkota at a terrible spot where he's got the offense bearing down on him for now 2 consecutive wins on the CCTV bomb site for the offense.
I want to take you through the mindset of Aggro for that round. He played it quite safely, in my opinion. We had an opening drone pre-placed. He was able to get that information for his team. Then at the minute 56 mark, he was able to play off the back of Hacker to get the wall open. That's at the 1 minute and 56 mark remaining. Just want to make that very clear. Throughout a bit of a time jump now, he held his angle onto the wall, then rotated into garage, making sure they were able to solidify that control. This really eliminates any sort of rotate that could have been held by Niagara Falls, and also getting that garage controlled also enabled him to get more picks. It is so pivotal because you lost Raymond, the player that was in garage the previous round, to have someone else go up and cover it. And so through that rotate, he was able to have the cross, push into sight was now successful, and it completely fell. On the side of Niagara Falls, now that they're going downstairs, we don't have to worry too much about holding this, but they will most likely return to CC, and what they will absolutely have to do is make absolute certain that they are able to watch and hold down that garage, because that's now been 2 picks, 2 rounds in a row that have come from losing that garage, and it's quite pivotal in a CC defense, in my opinion, if you don't have that smoke denial or Tachanka.
Yeah, no, for sure. You're right on the money there, and it is a little odd that Niagara fall in that position with relative ease. I wonder if maybe they need to go back to the drawing board a little bit with how they orient themselves there. Perhaps they need a player actively holding below. Maybe we could see, for instance, a bandit being brought to close down those garage walls, because it feels like Northern Shield win that attack with ease when it's the question of pushing into garage. But either way, we're down to the basement now, so we'll have to wait a few more rounds. Maybe even the next one is Niagara. They didn't lock out the defense. They just swapped over it on the rotation because they weren't feeling comfortable. And that was plainly evident to me there on the second floor objective. A little bit of a roam being instituted as well. But I have to beg the question, are Niagara going to play together, or is this going to be more isolated fights that they're looking to take? Oh, okay, I mean, Scrim just kind of caught in a bit of a doozy there, but he works a pick against Raymond now to sort of add to the total of bodies collapsed upon by Niagara so far. A drone will be sent in, but you can sort of sense the hesitancy here from Dan as he doesn't want to add to that kill count, add to the body pile, and he is a little bit worried as well that there might still be that other roaming defender of the Jaeger eventually creeping down the stairs. Dan is felled. The roam game pretty heroic so far in this third round.
It's all about that refrag game. If you aren't able to clear out a player, you got to make sure that you go for them and not peek out at those most inopportune times. Scrim really holding on with a sliver of HP, and the round has completely slipped away for Northern Shield as they're trying to get this pinch together. But honestly, they just want to forget about this. Forget about Scrim in general. He has just been an absolute staple in holding on Strip, a part of the map where I don't think we've ever seen this much action.
They have to make sure that they work together when enabling this push. You can see Creep has actually managed to sneak past here into the center of Strip Club, catches Scrim out. Finally, that roaming Melusi has been dealt with, but the Jaeger is waiting at the top of the stairs, and Hacker has no idea now, leaving it up to Creep. He'll find one. Does shorten the amount of kills he'll need to garner here, but it's still quite a difficult spot to find himself in, and even though Creep does have the hard breach, still 3 Selmas, none of which he ever ended up using. With the Cade in play, with the mute jammers being present, it's likely that Creep is not going to get much traction out of the Selmas at all, and he might die before he even gets one out in his hand. You can see Morukata is prone there at long 90, and I doubt Creep is going to pre-aim this. Head is spotted, and it's actually a trade onto one of the players deeper in the hall, but the Cade survives, and he hits the shot.
You see that water shot coming out, and there's a quick celebration. There it is. There's that fist pump. What a nice little fist pump. And I'm really proud of that round on the side of Niagara Falls for the reason of that beautiful roam. While the roamers weren't playing exactly together, if we take a look at Yuko as well as Scrim, they were on opposite sides of the map, but you could tell that that communication was there. How? Through the fact that Jaeger needed to rotate late round, and they both got that early pick. Now, the technical pause is coming out, just making sure that we have everything sorted. But that was 2 unanswered kills almost. Actually, 3. I'm going to call that 3 unanswered kills. Then on the 4th, then we started to see things start to bounce back in a sense. It comes to the drone work. Northern Shield have to make sure that they either have 2 people pushing in to get that refrag. For example, Aggro pushing in a garage. He did see the Jaeger on top by Rafters window inside of CC. But if you push that alone, you lose that gunfight, you have nothing to work off. And I don't believe, when I was looking, I didn't see any drones go for that second floor. They're clearing out all bottom by secret stair or blue stairs, depending on what you want to call it. Relevant info will get you those picks. End of story.
That was really odd. That was a pretty big departure, but I guess it does come down to the fact that Northern Shield didn't have to do such an extensive clear on those first 2 rounds. And even with that being said, I still think it is a little bit inexcusable that Northern Shield just took those solo fights. Your best bet as an attacker when clearing the roamers is to work together. You mentioned the trade game. You just don't need to risk taking these 1v1 fights, because it adds to the huge time delay that we saw there, not to mention just the total loss of resources with how badly that push went. Never did they even open up the soft wall coming into the strip club. I think the best way I could describe that was Northern Shield just didn't use everything that they had available to them to make sure that when they cleared that roam off, that it went successfully. I'd like to see them be a little bit more thorough next time.
Now, I do believe the Jaeger of Yuklo was actually droned out downstairs. This could spell disasters. They will be watching for this flank. And Maverick, in case you're wondering, he is actually not able to be muted. A mute jammer will not actually disable his breaching torch. So that enables him to get rid of any sort of mute jammer in the vicinity, making it quite easy to open up any sort of wall. Now, the push so far is quite standard. They really want to take control of construction. This is a pivotal part of the map because it will lead you both into logistics as well as bedroom, which is your site. No need for a buffer room in this case because you also have the windows. With all these angles, you want to make sure on the side of Niagara Falls, you're covering, you're taking these gunfights before it's too late, before they are breathing down your neck.
I do think that Northern Shield could do with kind of picking up the pace a little bit. They've gotten control of the cash side without any casualties. Used the Surrey Torch for a little bit, and a nice little find there as Yukio tried to walk up the stairs and got immediately destroyed. Should have been a flank drone there that called out that play. You can see Hacker will drop off of his rifle, and Dan is going to look to make a huge play. There's one hiding behind the logistics desk, goes undiscovered. Raymond picks off Lucifer there. Looked like that was a bit of trade play, and Raymond actually just saved the life of the Ash because she had no clue there was a player hiding behind that desk, and so now the pressure really getting to him here. The mute jammer proving difficult to clear, and we'll have the capitalization come up there from Morukata. So he lands it with the pistol, but Hacker and Creepery each doing bits of damage, leaving it just up to that Aruni, who gets flattened on a crossfire there as the Maverick steps through the construction door and deals the final blow.
I talked about how pivotal construction would be, and we got a reaction here. You know it. They already knew the round was in the bag. How? The Ash, although they went down, they were able to shoot at that mute jammer, which is blocking that somewhat breaching round. So that's an absolutely huge play, and you don't really realize it. I believe it was Dan on the Ash. By shooting out that rather than the man, it allowed the ace of Creepery to now push into sight. Then it completely fell from there. If you have 3 different angles crushing in on you, chances are you're not going to be able to win it, especially when you're coming from smack dab in the middle of all of them in the form of red stairs. I'm a fan of the Northern Shield push. It works, good utility usage, and then some. They finish that round having extra little bits in their pocket.
Gotta be honest with you, I don't think the castle really did them many favors on that defense. I think they could use, with adapting their play a little bit on that cash side. They brought all these reinforcements, but to me, it felt like they weren't very comfortable holding that extension, and you saw how quickly it fell when Northern Shield started to establish that pressure. I suppose you could say that might be a symptom of the fact that the Maverick is up on the board here, so your opportunities or options when it comes to denying the offense from unrooting or uprooting that position are pretty slim. You kind of have to take that 50-50 fight with Hacker on his Maverick, and so I suppose that does cause a few problems, but you kind of have to make up your mind because you do not win gym and bedroom by falling off of this extension so quickly. You saw what happened there. Northern Shield, as soon as they got control of the cash hold, they were sort of calming down. They were watching the extension. Maybe I mistook it for them being a little bit too patient, but they were just sort of making sure that everything was dialed in, that there was no roam going on, there was no problems below, and we've actually had a little bit of a change as well, which is kind of curious to me, Binks. Yuklo gets off of the Jaeger and moves to smoke. Scrim is the one who does pick up that German operator, but he has about the same level of luck as his teammate did.
Highly unfortunate, to say the least, but now, look, we know Yuke has been quite capable on this frag game. So to have him situated inside a cache, I have a lot more hope. He could possibly smoke out this Maverick as he attempts to get the wall. And this could cause for a lot more possible denial. But there it is. I will be proven wrong. The coordination of Dan and Hacker will honestly turn this entire extension into more of a liability, as I think what we all feared comes to pass. Aggro now being the first to push in. He has his eyes set onto construction, but once again, look. That's right, Raymond, on top of that Logi hatch, ready to go, ready to support his team, will be able to down Lucifer with the nade, and this entire extension has proved to be the demise of Niagara Falls, as Aggro is just waiting for the call on the team for everyone to make their move, and there it is, a flawless round coming out for Northern Shield.
That's a very grim reality, and one thing that we were speaking about here in the pregame is the importance of this match, the playoff stakes that this game holds, and it is a little unfortunate, to be honest with you, that it's Northern Shield who have their map pick first, because the pressure here is entirely placed upon Niagara. This is Northern Shield's game to lose. They only need to win their map pick. They just need to pick this one up in regulation. And to be 4-1 on starting offense is really got to be a big demoralizer. And it's not simply the round count here as well that does feed into that. It's how decisively these rounds are being won. The CCTV defenses fall in such a miraculous dispatch by NS. And Niagara have got 2 players on donuts, and a lot of the time it's them who are finding themselves on the bad end of the opening engagement, because Northern Shield either will continue to just pummel you. I mean, Binks, how many situations has there been here where Northern Shield win the opening engagement and then get traded? It's almost like if they win that opening fight, it's 1 kills. 1 kill, 2 kill, 3 kill. It just builds up more and more and more. And Niagara don't have the ability to skirmish after that.
Now, I know as casters we're not supposed to talk too much about ourselves, but I believe through my horrible play of Rainbow Six, there might be a lesson to be learned. Now, in case you didn't know, my aim is absolutely horrendous, but I still manage to get kills. How does that happen? Because of my positioning. I don't play for the random angles that get pre-fired. I make sure to position myself for those long angles where I know that I can control the gunfights. I control every single variable around me. Like a key spot on a chessboard, I make sure that I am ready to pounce, and that's something Northern Shield has been doing to great effect in combination with their gun skill. And even through these Jackal tracks, you know the way they are pushing these gunfights, they're not waiting for these pre-fire angles. They are waiting to make sure they have the position, to have the player run to them. Because if you are holding down that shift key and you're in the moving direction, you can't ADS. You are not going to be able to shoot them out, and there it is. That is how you completely angle it out. Give them no chance. It doesn't matter if he's the best gunner in the world. When you have 3 different guns on you, it won't happen.
Such a different round to the last time we saw Northern Shield clear out that roam. I mean, the way that they do it is just infinitely better. Nitro launched up. This could be the one that turns the tide, but it does not land onto Raymond, who is, he knows where it is to be safe there inside the kitchen space. It's not a complete disaster scenario. You did manage to find 1 pick back onto aggro. Make sure this is not a 2-man advantage for Northern Shield, but you can still definitely feel that a bit of extra pressure is on. Though, one thing you can say, aggro has kind of been that initiator for NS. Pretty valuable player when he finds his impact in the moment. Dan almost being taken out solely by that long angle as he struggles against the Aruni, but now just 1 bullet out of that C7E is enough to send the Aruni DBNO and now reduce the advantages that Niagara hold. A 5-1 half, I have to feel, it is almost irrecoverable. I just do not see Northern Shield have this massive fall off because it's them who get onto the defense in round number 7 just after this one. So if Niagara can't pull together, now that they've got Zoldak back up into the fight, but so Poetic is immediately after being revived, he just goes down as a headshot connects from Raymond. Now the drop down as well, the diffuser coming down. There's a denial possibility here from Morukata, but I don't think he's in position, and now Creep will get the case down successfully. As you can see, the Cade was nowhere near the case plant in the 2 versus 3.
We see these lives ping from that default camera. This could be pivotal, but that shot on the drone won't even matter. There's a quick trade, a double kill from Creeper to secure the 5-1 half, and irrecoverable it may be. 2 very clean headshots and a beautiful flick. will send them spiraling towards the defensive side, also known as a side with a major advantage.
That was an impressive closeout there from Creep. Just bouncing between the angles. So fluid in his play. And the Cade almost spoiled it there with that kill onto the player prone in long 90. If that had gone wrong, that would have been embarrassing for him to have had that intel, the Z-ping from the default cam. 5-1. The odds are looking slim, and I'll remind all of you viewers, Niagara cannot allow Northern Shield to win this map. They cannot allow them to pick up even 2 more rounds, because that would mean, essentially, the rest of this game would be worthless for them. There would be no playoffs remaining on the line. Their chances to get into the postseason would just be over with. So they have to rally together here. I hope they've got some serious play on the offense. Maybe their defense just wasn't up to snuff, and Northern Shield have just been prepping their attack. A lot of teams put more emphasis on preparing your attack on Clubhouse because generally it's disadvantaged, and you need that extra emphasis in training. But I don't think that's enough of a cop-out to say that Northern Shield, with 6 more rounds to go in the half, aren't going to at least pick up 2.
We can hope. We can pray. But at the end of the day, it's Rambo 6. The better team will prevail. And through this setup now, you may be wondering, wait, what's going on? They're downstairs and we only have Raymond? And Creeper, who's dropping through the hatch? Man, I gotta wonder, what's going on? Why would they ever try to stay all the way down in the basement when the push should be coming, or sorry, staying up on the second floor when the push is going towards the basement? Let me tell you why. This entire setup is angled towards a nice, quick, and easy rotate back for both Hacker as well as Aggro and Adan. How? Hatch drops, rotates, everything has been made, custom made, just for them. But this cross peek from Zoldak could actually put a stop to that, but you can't allow for these angles to be rotated out of Hacker. Man, oh man. He finds those holes and he manages to slip through them, and it could definitely be a difference maker in this round.
I mean, that's a big part of Hacker's play. He is sort of that one that finds the loophole through the offense's armor and is able to sneak around it. And for him to be on the Mozzie, I mean, that just makes perfect sense. This is all how Mozzie's role is supposed to be, and Niagara are sure taking their sweet time getting this open. Finally, now Mute Jammer's been cleared. I don't really think the Maverick Torch is really needed. Probably could have just had Lucifer shoot it off if they realized it was there, but that's a nitpick for another day. Yuklo has moved up, applying the pressure. The players are not giving up, which is definitely a big note. Even though the time is pretty low here, if they could fight through these picks, they might be able to secure that advantage back to the site. But now Niagara have lost 2 players without even forcing Northern Shield out of this roam upstairs, and that could get even worse now, as you can see how embattled the Maverick is. An impact even being sent up through the floor, but Dan needs to check in on his game sense there. That's actually not a soft floor. Finally now, though, Scrim will strike back as he brings the man advantage 1 step closer, and Morukata expands onto 1 as well, as the Vigil uses the offense's own Rotero drone to sneak through that opening.
I've talked about their ability of readiness to pounce, and that's exactly what we're seeing showcased brilliantly here. And it's not off the backs of their own teammates, it's off the backs of Niagara Falls, which is never something you expect. You don't expect that team ready to pounce the same way both those players weren't ready for those kills. All left up to Mork2, and there we go, Dan with a huge kill. That's match point already, in a dominant showing on the defensive end.
Well, that'll make it 4 rounds in a row for Northern Shield, as barely at the cusp of the second half, they are already on to match point at 6-1. And Niagara Falls Esports have got a lot of work to do, now needing to win the next 5 rounds to even make it into overtime, which I'll remind all of you, if they get to OT, which would now be the requirement for them, again, in that playoff race, if they are to win this game in OT, and then go on into the next map and win that on their pick, that leads us into a toss-up scenario where we have to we have to go check in with the tiebreaker rule. And to be honest with you, I think Northern Shield probably win in that situation because of their round differential. So we'll have to see how that works out. And to me, this is looking very grim for Niagara.
Looping back to that previous round, I think one of the scary things for Niagara is what you actually talked about on the first half of this map. That sluggish push style. We actually saw only at the minute 45 remaining mark that CC side was being opened up with both a Maverick and Ace on the board. And Flores, I want to add. Although the mute does counter the Flores quite nicely, he was still on the board, and you have to make sure you use that utility properly. Flores was even in the garage before that minute 45 mark. If you're going for that basement attack, you have to work a lot faster. It won't suffice. That clear won't work. Not to mention the fact that it wasn't even a split push. It was all the players coming from that CC side, and from not being able to pinch those players out, not forcing them down that bar hatch, they didn't play into the weaknesses of this now come to be well-known strategy. So we need to see that they pick it up. And also, that pulse down below from the hatch man himself of Raymond was also quite pivotal, because you could actually have a abundance of info, but Raymond will get caught by the Claymore. You gotta look out for that, man. Really?
Oh.
Oh.
Poor Raymond. Oh, that'll be an
man.
outtake that's going on Twitter for sure. Dan trades him out though, but such a pitiful kill. I mean, Raymond didn't need to do that, man. He could have survived. Gotta check for the Claymores. It's hard to see the red laser out through that. Wow.
That's why they have merch, man. That's why, right there.
I don't believe
This
that.
is why they have merch.
Oh, and he gets another one. 4 versus 2 now, and Zoldak could be next. You can see there's a Z ping there. The drone rolls through. They have the intel. Swing out. It's an air jab shot. You gotta react to that, and he will. Dan shoots it, and the Nomad just runs through, puts his muzzle up close and personal. Now making this one a little bit closer, but Aggro will wrench it back. Only one remaining attacker, and the Cade, the Moroccan operator, seems to be well dialed in on this last offensive position. Pistol in hand for Creep. He's trying to go for the one tap. Chasing forward. Northern Shield are nowhere close to the objective. They all want this kill. They're hungry to close out this game at that 7-1 margin. Now an air jab tossed down, and it'll be one single bullet that sends us through 7-1. Northern Shield, talk about a decisive result.
Oh, man. You talked about it's going on the Twitter. I think that's the one. That's the clip. It will be there. Niagara Falls have their work cut out for them, but fret not. That was not their map pick. I must remind you that Clubhouse was the pick of Northern Shield. So in a short little while, we will be going to a break. But Stick, I gotta get your thoughts on that, because that was extremely dominant from Northern Shield. It felt like every single moment of that game, they had it in the palm of their hand. They had every single... They were playing chess, except they were controlling both players.
Yeah, they look like they had it all under control there, and that was just Northern Shield showing why they've been one of the top contenders, and it sucks to be in this position for Niagara as their shot at playoffs is now gone, with Northern Shield claiming a 7-1 result. Just propels them forward. This should now mean that, I believe, Northern Shield head into third place over their rival here in the top 4 that is yet to play their match, which we'll see later in the day. But that's got to be a tough one, and just for their hope, for the record at the end of the season, I hope that we get to this next match on Oregon and Niagara Falls at least get a consolation win to know that, you know, they gave it their best shot when it came to their map, the one that they prepared for. They fought hard, and they made sure that even though the chance of playoffs is gone, they are not a defeated enemy. They have not completely run out of morale. But we'll have more at that answer to the question after we head to a short little break. Both teams having some time to talk behind the scenes. We'll be right back. You're watching CCL Short Intermission. They play like Ember Rose Esports or somebody. And
They're fine. That's a win.
That's not, yeah. Hello, everyone. We're back. We just got done with a very, very decisive first match, a 7-1 result for Northern Shield, and a game that we all expected to be such a decisive one. I mean, for it to be so quick, we were hoping that maybe that game would go into overtime at the very least, or head down to the depths of regulation, not one that ends in round number 8.
I think in regards to that, we have to wonder what was going through the minds of, now I'd normally say Niagara Falls, but on the side of Northern Shield, we have to imagine that there was that extra boost of confidence. They felt so very comfortable, and you could see it with every single time we cut to their camera feed. They were in complete control, and they had that spatial awareness. When they were going for those gunfights, it was in, all right, let's go. Let's run it. It was, I'm ready. You ready? All right, let's pounce. They weren't the prey. They were never running. It was always strategical. They moved around to the key positions that they wanted.
Well, I will say they were running at the final round. They were running towards the last attacker to make sure they got that kill and the game ended as quickly as possible, which is a little bit comedic there. But we have the second map. It is Niagara Falls Esports going to Oregon for their selection. Unfortunately, in a game that doesn't really matter much. This game has no impact on the playoffs, so it's personally just a game to have some fun, to get some more LAN experience, and I'm hoping that this is NFES's pick, that they are a little bit better prepared, and that they can come into this one and kind of shock the odds, because we wanted a game that was competitive. Maybe I cursed it a little bit by saying that we don't want a blowout game earlier during the pre-match segment, but fortunately, that's just the way that it goes. And currently, for an update on the standings, Northern Shield, with that 3-point regulation win, have actually ballooned up to second place over even Valors, which is huge for them. And if they are to win this match as well, I believe it should put them out of reach from any other team in the competition, and that would be a Tide Pods, who are still kind of in a bit of a position where they could be moving up in the standings. But with that being said, with that game already having been etched in, we have our top 4 in the postseason. It'll be Viral, Northern Shield, Valors, and Tide Pod.
I'm looking forward to it. Personally, we can see a very solid and competitive playoffs. All 4 of these teams have proven time and time again that they belong here. They belong in Canadian Contenders League, and they're ready to prove to the fact that they are gunning for the top. When I talked to Orglis at the start of the season, they said, yeah, we have no problem. This is going to be our season. It's ours to lose. But now I'm not so sure. They have shown a lot of dominance throughout the season, which we have seen through those statistics, but they got a lot of contention. Northern Shield, who we have just seen, if they're able to play that confident and dominant against Orglis, if they are able to really coordinate those pounces, and I've been loving that word, it's my word of the day, then we could really see them giving them a run for their money. And it won't just be Orglis's game to lose. It will be Northern Shield's game to win.
And I think another point that I would draw from the Clubhouse match in particular that could benefit Northern Shield in the playoffs is when you look at the third round, that Church defense, it was the only round in the first match that NFES won. The way that Northern Shield, on the next attempt of that bottom floor objective, how drastically they changed up their push and how expertly they managed to shut down that roam. It was nothing like the first round on that site. It was a complete adaptation, and that can be huge. The ability to adapt like that in a quick environment, and especially on the offense, it can be particularly difficult to change up your push like that, especially if it's something you're not comfortable with. Maybe Northern Shield haven't been the most happy with how they are able to come at this and how well understood, well adjusted they are to trying to clear out these full roam situations. But it looked like Niagara got blindsided when NS came into that round and they said, we know the roam threat is there and we are going to shut it down.
Going forward into this next map of Oregon, we have a lot more choke points than we do on Clubhouse. I can name a few in the basement, for example. Bunker, freezer, laundry. That's right, 3 little choke points. You lose those. Well, I won't say bunker. Bunker, you can afford to lose. I would move that more into pillar. Those are like 3 pivotal points where if you lose that and they're able to get hard breach control or just have that angle covered without contention, the attackers will have a much easier time, pillar being the most pivotal in my opinion. Then we go and we look upstairs. You have attic, you get attic control, you get bedroom control. There's a massive split. And you have the cross angles. What are you going to do? You are so very pinched in the sight, and it's just about getting those key kills for the clear.
I'm kind of hoping that maybe the choke points will add to an extra layer of teamwork. Maybe that kind of provides a more clear foundation for Niagara Falls to work with, because so far it did seem like in some rounds they lacked an element of structure to the way that they played, and it set ourselves up in a situation where on the defense, Niagara Falls in the way that they're playing are expressing more so their individual capabilities. They are not coordinating, and I don't even need to say it. We all know Siege is a team game. So if Niagara Falls can't play like this on the second map, and perhaps as they begin on the offense, Northern Shield are able to use that as a weapon, as an upper hand, this could be another very swift game.
Ban's now underway. I think we can expect the standard Thatcher to come out. And once again, we're not fortune tellers. We're just statisticians. Oregon, statistically, you see Thatcher banned out so commonly. But hey, a quick change, though, could be the fact that instead of the Habana, we're going to see a Maverick. Because how pivotal he... What? Okay, never mind. I'm not a statistician anymore. Everything goes out the window. Stig, I don't know how you manage to get it right every time. Clearly, I can't.
Well, Jackal is not a too foreign ban for Oregon. There is some use that you can see from the Jackal, and the thing that does kind of make me worry a little bit is it's Niagara Falls that ban it, and I feel like they could use more help on their roam clear. I don't think that's going to be the biggest hit to Northern Shield. I mean, on Clubhouse, they really didn't use it, but I'll say for Club, Jackal doesn't really have much room to slot into a lot of those compositions, because usually you need 3 soft destructors and 2 hard breachers. There isn't much wiggle room there in that scenario. So maybe this is going to be less of a full roam clear game from the offense, and we'll see more passive lockdown from someone like the Nomad, or maybe even a Gridlock could be played. But that does kind of worry me a little bit. We will see the Nomad come through there from Zoldak, but I don't know, to be honest, if I feel that ban is really appropriate for the circumstances. Maybe there could be some hidden reason that I don't see there. Maybe they've had a VOD where Northern Shield really abused the Jackal in the past that I've glossed over. But for the basement side, at least, I don't know if that's really going to be the largest hit, because usually on the basement site, you probably would opt for a Nomad over the Jackal anyway, given Northern Shield's playstyle. But on Oregon, I think you could draw a parallel to Club. Sometimes we did see Northern Shield play a little bit of a roam.
Northern Shield, they went for more of an interesting roam. They always had a route, and that route could change. It felt like I was playing a multiple choice game watching them. They had so many options of how they would rotate back. Of course, you have those deadly paths that they would take, but it seemed like they knew the exact choices they need to make, and that came from those key pivotal information spots, whether it be the audio or if it was simply just a call from a teammate off a cam. But now, defense, Oregon, the Aruni. Absolutely pivotal. We see her 3 Aruna gates on 3 what I would call main rotation points, which is where you want to play her. You want to have it set up in spots where, as a defender, you'll be able to pop out, shoot it, reactivate it. That way it needs to take more utility or even part of the HP of the attackers. But if they don't clear those parts out, if they have to run through, it's also that audio that it gives off. The audio of a Aruni Shurya gate could mean the exact difference. But what was that kill? Was that through the barricade? Was that just a simple pre-fire?
I think that's got to be what it was there. He just kind of expected that. Your hard breacher, half of it down from that more kind of static point of view as compared to the Maverick. So, not a great beginning to this game, and I can't say anything to console Scrim for that one, so we're just going to sort of move past it and continue on with the flow of the round. Judging by the highlights, Northern Shield are playing one roam away from the side. It's not, this full hold-in meeting as some more outlandish defenses would comprise of, but it could be a problem. It might slow down Niagara. As you can see, they are considering this. They are paying some attention to see if there could still be roam presence up above, and you can also see Hacker is sort of testing the periphery of this site as well, and also Dan utilizing quite an off angle there from actually inside of the bunker area. As you know, that double door going out to barrels never got open, so he knows that he can sit in bunker, continue to peek up that hatch, and maybe there's a chance he catches somebody off guard, but Creep is actually already doing the brunt of the work as he's retaken meeting, and as the Nomad walks in, Zolak does not check behind the sandbags.
You gotta check those sandbags. They are so very deadly, and there's the kill. Simple round for them. They are in control once again. This is not their map pick, I want to add. They're not on the defending side. But just off that opening pick, I feel like that really, no matter what talk you had, Scrim getting taken out on that ace from what I'm going to guess is a proned angle located on the edge of blue bunker off of elbow. It's a moral booster. It's a control booster. You can go and play with the man. You can play around with whatever you feel the need to. But now it throws them into this downward spiraling mentality of, hey, watch out for this pick. Watch out for this angle. You're no longer, once again, the prey. No, not the hunters, which you should be on attack. You're the prey on defense. You shouldn't be hunting. That's why we have Jackal, who is basically called the hunter. He hunts down the roamers. You can't allow those roles to be swapped so early on in a game.
Yeah, that's a very easy way to let the match get out of hand if you do not properly realize the threat of the defense and what they can pose. Niagara Falls have not had the greatest luck when it comes down to actually trapping in that roam presence, and I think it could be declared as sort of a lack of authority from NFES. Maybe they just don't have that same confidence that Northern Shield have, because Northern Shield already know their shot in the playoffs is locked in, and so this game, they can play free-ranging, basically. I mean, they can test out stuff. Maybe this is an opportunity for them to have a bit of a trial run for a more aggressive style of siege that they might attempt to use later in the playoffs, but look like Raymond, you could sort of hear that 416 start to fire off, but he's actually the one who gets opening picked. However, look at Creep rounding the corner, attempts the pre-fire. Somebody will go through the highlight there on the opposite side of the wall.
What is that?
Looks like, how? What?
What?
I mean, this round is just bewildering. First, you have a failed spawn peek, and then Zoldak shoots his teammate.
Was that like an incidental flick from above and this double peek from a hacker? What is these runouts? They know every angle. They know the location of the attackers before they even make it in. Now Zoldak is stuck on construction site. Let me add, outside the building, but a very nice clean headshot. But there's the aggro for the trade as he just needed that extra moment, that extra bit of confirmed information that he rotated out. He'll snag the headshot. Quite an easy round going the way of Northern Shield as you can see that replay once again. It's a clean headshot. It's just copy pasted this time. Yes, Sticula.
What site was that? I mean, what? There was
it doesn't matter.
Over the map.
It doesn't matter. What, the site doesn't matter.
That's not good.
Since when does the site matter? We don't have to go on the site.
Not when Northern Shield are playing Oregon defense, apparently.
They don't need it. They can play around the angles. They can play the patterns instead of wait. But man, oh man. We got the Caveira now. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
I can make you a bet. In the event that we do have an interrogation, I can guarantee you, I can yell interrogation louder than you. That's something I can guarantee.
I don't know. I think I think you might be bested there. We'll see.
But we'll see.
I don't know if the Caveira is bound to get an interrogation on this site in particular. Maybe if it were dorms, I could see that happening, because there aren't a lot of areas where Cav can creep up behind the offense. I would hope that the Nomad air jabs prevent such a dastardly situation. Creep will hide inside the attic. But Niagara really have to band together in this game. I think that's their best chance of making a comeback. They have got to try to find some more rounds here on the offense, because there isn't going to be a lot to fall back on when you get to the second half of this game. I don't know what Creep is doing. He's hiding in the garage, of all places. Raymond will spawn peek onto Morukata from the radar window. So you've lost your Habana, half your hard breach in this instance, and the first blood is well there. I mean, Niagara Falls just continue to get pestered, and they haven't really done much to hide. It's all that. Come on, man.
Man, Dan is just exposing them right now. Oh, man. But I will add a reconciliation. It's hard to judge those air jabs sometimes. And instead of breaking the actual air jab and shooting another, by putting it down on the ground, it is now hidden in the debris of the barricade, and it is still activated. That is not a mistake. That was just big brain right there. I guarantee it.
Yeah, okay. We'll see if that does anything to the realm potential of somebody sneaking back. Looks like more gas canisters being used. Definitely not where you usually would see them. No! Oh, but the DBNO, Uklo is so low. Shotgun comes out, but no interrogation in this round, as Creep is dispatched there by Uklo. So we will not have that screaming contest here in round number 3, as the Brazilian operator is taken out of commission, and Niagara Falls managed to trade that out, but Uklo is just sitting out in the open inside a meeting.
You cannot go on a Gemini replicator that cautious, and now you're turning your back.
No, man,
What is
no.
it? I don't understand these trades. The trades are coming out from all over the place. When you get a trade, you are never safe. That is when you are in the most amount of danger, because that's all that info coming right towards you. But now, on the hunt for yet another trade, and refrag will be aggro. He'll find the head of Scrim. A beautiful and a masterclass shot. But now upstairs, a quite isolated gunfight of Raymond Golding against the Nomad Azoldak. This is an absolute pivotal kill. He'll now be assisted by Aggro, as both of these fraggers are looking to find this peak. He'll swing, Aggro finding a second for the round. And now left all up to the shoulders of Zoldak. He's getting lit up for nobody even knows where. He'll find one, but not the second, as Hacker gets the trade on the Tachanka.
Another round where it feels like the objective, man, just it does not matter. And that will be now...
Pre-fire.
That's 3 in a row just on this map alone, but you could go back to Clubhouse and do some addition there as well. They capped off that game with 5 in a row, which now bumps this up to 8 consecutive round wins. Niagara Falls badly need to get a win. They need to just get out of this headspace that they're in right now and start to work together, start to focus in, be a little bit more cautious on that approach to the building, because if you continue to lose these opening picks to Raymond peeking out the satellite window, to somebody jumping out on the master bedroom balcony with a shotgun, it's not going to help the mental here, Binks. It's just not. It's going to continue to act as a major frustrator.
I said it before, I'll say it again. Niagara Falls. 3 rounds is not the end of the world. I said this to my team when I was first getting into comp a while ago. And they're like, oh my god, we are 3 rounds down. Oh my goodness. I'm like, you've come back from ranked games where you were 3 rounds down, and it did not matter. You just played your game and brought it back. 3 rounds is so very minute in the grand scale of comp. If you can find even a grip, just get your pinky. If you're rock climbing, you have your little pinky on a tiny little grip, you are still holding on. And through that, you can push. And as we go into the action phase, that's exactly what Niagara Falls are looking to do. They are setting up. They are ready for these pre-fires. They are waiting. They're droning out. And that's something that we have to see. 2 drones for Lucifer. And he's going to try to find this aggressive play from Hacker. Spray coming out, trying to bait out shots. This is exactly what you want to see. You want to see that the plays come out, that they were able to get those refrags. But there it is, the aggressive plays from Dan. He'll find not 1, but 2 huge kills. Nomad, Sophia off the board, but it is recoverable. Flores, Ace, Habana returning. They are all that stands between a 4-round differential and a round for Niagara Falls. Can they do it?
I think we all are hoping so in this instance, that the last 3 can band together, can huddle up, and organize the play, but Dan will now prompt a third kill as NFES just cannot seem to get out of the way of this garage sightline. Still this player yet to be traded. Creep will go down. They do spot the elbow, but Dan gets a fourth kill from one doorway. And now he goes for it. He's outside the building, throws caution to the wind, leaving it up to Lucifer, who's got an Aruni chasing forward, spots the barrel, headshot connects, and now that'll be 4.
5, 6, 7. Man, we could turn this into a Spanish lesson. I'll pull my Duolingo out, get the Duolingo owl on the screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we only need to go 7. Never mind. Well, now you know I can count to 10 in Spanish. Regardless, Niagara Falls, creepery. Oh, creepery. Oh, creepery. I know we're waiting for the next season. We're excited to see all the reworks it brings, but no. He'll opt for the Kool-Aid Man instead. Stick, I have to admit to be quite concerned. It feels tight. It feels really cluttered at the moment on the side of Niagara Falls. They need to loosen up, spread out, go for those more obscure ways of points of entry, the ones that Northern Shield aren't regularly watching. This construction side, how many times do they have to spawn there to know that it's going to be spawn trapped? Now, I know from my own experience, and I am an angles man. I always like to play the angle rather than the gunfight. I always get spawn peek, and that's when I learned to, hey, let me change my spawn, take the safest route possible, because I know that when I get into position and I'm there for that clutch play, I know that I'll be ready, and I know that I will be set. But what can I say? They don't have this spectator view. They don't have all this information that we're being fed, and it will definitely be one for the digest.
Hella shotgun in master bedroom from Hacker, and a Gersmont as well now. Talk about a play. What is Aggro doing? Look at this angle. He's up on the wardrobe. So, okay. Sends out a Prisma as well. Gonna act as a little bit of extra cover. Let's see if Dan has another 4K performance in him in round number 5. Spots maybe just the knee of the player outside. Will adjust the angle, but eluding him and spare a bit there. And now another player pushing in from the garage. Two-prong push, the head of the Iana, now spotted there from the garage, but Dan not able to completely shut that down. It looks like perhaps an air jab being thought about to isolate that main stairs. Replicator comes through, but Dan flattens Zoldak at the main door in the meanwhile. Iana peeks again, and there it is for Dan, who completes the double kill. He's acting a bit of a monster this game, and he is really giving Niagara a hard time. Could it be Hacker to move that man advantage? One more kill to Northern Shield's favor. Huclo drops off the roof right into the sight line of the Mozzie. Would you believe that Dan is just a killing machine? Creep is taken out, but at this point, it's just recoverable.
The bandit battery's getting a shot from down below. Raymond getting into a solid position, and there you see it. Those aggressive running. He's holding down the shift key, ready to go. Dan looking for another. Hacker finding one in reconciliation, but it's a bit late. Those impacts won't even be able to deny the Maverick, who's just trying to hold out this prone hole, find a small kill. But here, this dual push, and I've been a huge fan of it throughout, cooking out that nitro, because if Aggro holds this angle, he can go for this huge nitro throughout, and I do believe that was the nitro. Very nice toss, just going slightly too far. But now with the 3 remaining players, it's not that they're on site, it's that they're just prepared to cover exactly where they know they're coming from. Now the Hibana looking for the push, Raymond going for the swing, he'll find it, looking for the second and final kill onto the Hibana. She's prone on the other side of the window. If the info is there, he'll have it, and there's Raymond to find and collect. Man, oh man, Northern Shield is looking more unstoppable with every round we finish.
Their momentum just continues to build as we get further in this Oregon game. The pressure on Niagara Falls ratcheting up as this game goes on. And they really need a boost of momentum. We're into round 6, the last here in this first half. In need of a bit of a reprieve here for Niagara Falls Esports, hoping that they can secure it. Otherwise, we're staring down perhaps a situation that we were joined with in map number 1, with Northern Shield being just so close to closing it out without really much of a second half even being able to be presented, just because of how fast moving this game is. Northern Shield, it feels like they're already in that playoffs mindset, and I imagine knowing that they took out that first one, I talked to Creep earlier, as I mentioned during the pregame. You know, he said that they're taking this game, they try their best at every single matchup, and they give this the same amount of respect. But even with that being said, you got to feel that there is so much pressure off of their shoulders, and they have to feel in this matchup a little bit free, Binks.
I think that's exactly what we're seeing. The respect is obviously there. They're not going and trying to do troll setups. They are simply playing the lines of sight where they would on a normal game. It's not a matter of saving strats in any sort of scenario. It's a matter of playing quite close and connected. I'm starting to my breath is starting to tighten up as I saw Jaeger with this pistol. But regardless, these aggressive plays are something that we could easily see in a competitive mindset, as the aggressive play is something that gets often slept on not being able to clear the play. And it's not a loss of respect. It's about putting pressure where it matters. It's about learning and adapting to the team that you're playing. If you play the same stagnant gameplay day in and day out, you're going to get the same result. It's not going to work out. You'll be an easily read team. If you play quite diverse and you're constantly moving around, well, there you go. How can someone read a team? And that's what made the old Penta, now G2 or former Penta roster, so very potent and powerful.
Great pickup there from Hacker as he wields that LMG for the long angle, and now Aggro exposes an opening in the wall. Actually getting found out by a drone, as it seems maybe some pressure could be coming in from that back side of the tower. A player holding up above. Nobody in immediate confrontation with Aggro. Lucifer feeling the pressure as well. Nagoya walking forward, holding back this attic pressure as Creep will hit the swing, and he catches Lucifer unawares to pick off that kill. Now a 4-2 situation. And Nagoya swings again, but Morikata, you gotta get your head in the game as it's taken off nearly by the pistol from Creep. Only one player left, otherwise it's a 6-0 half we are blistering towards. And now the Shumika fire expands. Could be a hatch drop in the making. Shots through the floor, and Nitro detonates. Yuklo has simply nowhere to go.
Like I said, it's not a matter of respect, it's a matter of the angles, and that's demonstrated quite clearly there. He's not rushing in for the kill, he's not playing it reckless. They are showing they know their angles, they know exactly what they're doing and how they want to play it. Nothing but respect, and I gotta call out that Parabellum hat. We're in the match in one, you better get yourself one, because you're missing out. I'm telling you right now, you're missing out on the Parabellum hat. Regardless though, angles were held. They saw where the push was coming in from, and they denied it, giving them that flawless half. And I think it's well-deserved. I genuinely think it is quite well-deserved on the side of Northern Shield. So now, they're on match point, and the Finka play indicates we could see a possible rush. Sick. A laundry rush is probably one of the hardest, but yet so very possible, as we've seen in so many Pro League highlights.
I would say the laundry rush is probably the second most approachable on the map. Sometimes you'll see a rush onto the meeting and kitchen site, just because a lot of times you can catch the defense off guard while they are still preparing the upstairs. That side often featuring a vertical extension, but as you mentioned, that rush in through elbow, attacking this site from the bunker could be a real possibility. And to be honest with you, I completely agree with your assessment. This feels like Northern Shield are ready to just close off the game, and they have the perfect composition to do so. The Ying, the Finka, making sure that Niagara are softened up, and the sledge as well for Dan to make sure that he can crack open that double door coming into bunker. This could be a potentially very explosive situation. You can see multiple positions. Now Hacker begins the process, shooting open the door. Two players also coming down from main. Could be a bit of a split run option. Shield explodes. Smoke sent in for the burn. adding that extra layer of coverage. Scrim will fight off one against aggro. Elbow, there's no rotate, so Northern Shield don't have really anywhere they can go. Looks like Raymond may be searching for a nitro, but nothing in close proximity for him to find.
They gotta go for this push. They're really committing. Zoldak left on the ground does act as a human drone, but until they push in, it won't do much. Swinging up will be Raymond. They could have spotted the blood on the ground looking for the down. This slow peek will not work, but there it is. A quick swing from Murkachu, and as well as Yuklo will be able to find one. With Lucifer down the ground, Zoldak, the defenders will be able to take it quite easily. What's going on?
Little premature from Zoldak there. Maybe thought the game was over, but nope, not quite yet. So that's the first round picked up by Niagara Falls Esports, and that had been, I think, gotta be like 11 rounds since they had picked one up. So that's quite a streak that Northern Shield had going, and I'm so glad that they do manage to interrupt it.
I can confirm that is 11 rounds consecutive, which is quite unheard of, especially for a clubhouse going to Oregon. You normally see that 4-2 split.
Man.
It's, especially for these two maps.
I totally cursed it. In the pregame, I said, it's a clubhouse in Oregon. These are the maps that go into OT that last the longest. But nope, wrong.
We're statisticians. We're not future tellers. We are statisticians, and by the stats, we went by them. We made the mistakes of looking for an average when we clearly have an outlier in the form of Northern Shield and Niagara Falls. But now, they might have a little bit of stride in their step. They could use this little grip that they have now found to hopefully hurdle themselves towards a matchup. Northern Shield showing that they could have gone possibly a little bit sloppy there, as they had the control, and yet, might I add, they have the access to the Maverick, but they were opting to go for these very frag-heavy lineups, and if I'm being honest, that's something that I feel is really hurting them a lot more. Now, they could be going for this gunplay, which is what they feel they accelerate a lot more than Niagara Falls, which we have seen. We've seen the gunplay be pivotal time and time again. But now, action phase of what could be our final round, this best of two. Creepery already on that main entrance balcony looking for a kill onto Master. They're just in position looking for the opening kill and really looking for that needle, that edge, the angle to really force their way into this second floor site.
Imagine for a moment the storyline if this were to be a comeback from Niagara. That would just be impressive. I think Aggro might just come to jump into Attic. He does. He guns down Lucifer. He could be expanding into Pit at the moment. He's actually prone holding from cover as Raymond assists him on the cross. Still that threat of the shield in the back as Yuklo picks off Hacker. Creepery tries to step in from top white, but he's immediately dispatched by Morukata. Yuklo contributes as well now as the castle is taken out. It's a 2 versus 2. Northern Shield, though, they do not have control of the case, but it's their two power players, Dan and Aggro. The Sledge will step forward. He gets one. Now the last defender off the side, bottom white, and Dan will get it, and that's a victory for Northern Shield, and who better to do it for Dan with the 2K, the two-time Canadian Nationals victor. He'll do it there, and that closes down the game as it's parallel scoreline 7-1, 7-1.
They knew what they were doing, in and out. They had the game in their control, and that's exactly what I like to see. That's a team that I am confident in going into playoffs. It's exactly cut and dry what needs to be shown in and out. That aggressive gunfight may not be the exact style that Northern Shield will always go for, but a 13-3 performance from Dan, 2 consecutive 3 or 4Ks, you have to wonder at that point. They know their angles. They know exactly what they need to play. They know where to look. They know what to expect. They see a drone, they know where to pre-fire. They have the backups to play off of. It's a wonderful thing to see, and I personally really enjoyed being able to see the thought process and the way that Northern Shield were able to play around not just the players, but the map.
I'm sure definitely an exciting experience there for Northern Shield. Commiserations to Niagara Falls Esports, who gave it a tough run and had a very strong opponent to go up against. Northern Shield have been a team at the top of our predictions for a pretty good run so far this season, and it's such a shame that NFES comes so close. They have this opportunity in a LAN environment to potentially book their tickets to the playoffs, but they fall quite short there. But not for a lack of trying. Maybe with a bit of extra prep, and maybe in a future scenario this game goes in a different direction. But for now, we have our answers to the storyline question, and it's a fairly decisive one, and now we know we have the top 4 for playoffs.
So let's get this straight, just for anyone who may be tuning in a bit late. Oh, playoffs? Who's coming for playoffs? That's right. We're going to see Orglis. We're going to see Tide Pods. I don't know if they have a secured spot yet. Do they?
They do. They're locked in.
Orglis, Tide Pods, Valor's GG, and your very own from today's matchup, we are going to see Northern Shield representing inside of playoffs. All 4 of these teams have demonstrated throughout the season that they are extremely capable rosters, and that's where I'm really looking to see some of this top level play of Rainbow Six Siege. You're not going to see as much of this clubhouse organ gameplay. Things are going to be spiced up. The stakes are going to be higher, and that strat book that everyone likes to talk about, you're going to be digging deep into that one because there's no sense in saving anymore.
No, I mean, there's not much really that you need to hold on to here. You're in playoffs now, and so you can give it your best shot. To my knowledge, Northern Shield, this is the only league that they compete in, so they can bust it all out. They can use every last drop of what they built up in practice to potentially earn that way all the way into the finals and potentially be your Season 1 champions here for the Canada Contenders League. We're trying to get some information about the playoff schedule. That way we all know when to tune in, but it will be kicking off next weekend, so we just get word from production. So make sure you mark your calendars as well. Make sure you go ahead and follow CCL R6S on Twitter. That way you have all the most up-to-date information about when our next stream begins, which teams are playing, and when you can watch your favorite competitors compete. But that's all from us here at Waves Gaming tonight. We had an awesome stream. This was an incredibly fun situation, and just a shame that we didn't get to see more out of either of those 2 maps. Once more, congratulations and good luck to Northern Shield in playoffs from myself and from Binks. Wishing you a great rest of your day. Farewell.
After all that we've been through, I think it's fair from me to you. Watch it burn as we soar away. Hey, hey. After all is said and done, and I know I am the one, I have waited here forever. But all I know is what I'm told. This feeling cannot be controlled. Watch the stars when I am gone. Have faith in me, we will behold. The skies are cast, they are foretold. Watch the stars when I am gone. When I am gone. shoulders. For I'm not the only one. How could you look behind now when everything is done? Oh, you carry the world upon your shoulders. For I'm not the only one. How could you look behind now when everything is done? Fill me out with your smile. Now the sunshine brings the light. Fill me out with a flame. I will let you in this game. Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 Take me out when I'm down. 'Cause with you I'm safe and sound. 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 I'm safe and sound.